Hi everyone, I'm Shimang. I'm the founder of Cryje. I am from India and I'm an Aston University graduate. I graduated in 2017 with a BSc honors in business and management. Being brought up in a business family, business has been something that I've always had an interest in. I did work in a few corporate companies and all, but then I later on decided that this is something I'm not into, and I wanted to do something of my own and create a legacy of my own. That's where I started Cryje, and I came up with the idea of starting a sportswear brand for myself and for everyone. Cryje is not just a sportswear brand. So my story with Cryje starts back in 2016. I was going through a transformation where I was trying to be more healthier, more fit, and I joined gyms, I joined sports centers and everything. But one thing I didn't realize is that I didn't have the right outfit to go to all these places and work out. So when I went out looking for outfits, everything is so expensive, and things which are not expensive are not up to that quality. So I figured out there's a gap in this market where maybe there's a need of someone who caters for everyone, is a good clothing brand, has good quality stuff, and at the same time is in the reach for everyone. So that's where the concept of Cryje came. Because I did a business management degree at Aston, all I kept learning about and thinking about was like business. It helped me like grow professionally, academically, in the business sense. And from Aston is where I had an opportunity of going to my placement year, where I did a placement, and then it's mainly that year where I realized that, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur and do something of my own. Aston, being really strong with its business school, helped me throughout my 4 years to build up my skills in a business environment. We had like insights into how businesses work. We had modules which were teaching us about like how a real life business should be and what skills you need to be in a business world. BScene provided me with the sponsorship of my graduate entrepreneur visa, also known as the starter visa, to help me set up my business in the UK and freely do my business without any restrictions. BC not only provided me with the visa to stay in the UK and set up my business, but obviously as an entrepreneur, there's so many questions which come into your head, like where should I start, who should be my audience, how will I set up my business and everything. So with BC, I had that help to get answers to those questions. So it is a great platform for young entrepreneurs who do not know where to start. They can approach BC and straight away bang on.
Hello and welcome everyone to I Am an Aston Entrepreneur, and thank you very much for joining us. Today, my name's Howard. I'm the BScene Enterprise Consultant, and today we'll just be going through talking to some Aston entrepreneurs about their experiences, exploring some of the journeys they've been on, as well as finding out some bits of detail around the Enterprise Scholarship Program, as along with the Startup Visa. There'll be different people speaking, so please stay with us. And yeah, excited to find out and talk to those entrepreneurs that we have here today. So we have Monique, if you'd like to say hello.
Oh. Yes, hello everyone. I am Monique.
Brilliant. And Davis, if you'd like to say hello.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm Davis.
Brilliant, thanks so much. So we're going to go on, and Carolyn, we'll be coming to you later. Do you just want to say hello at the moment?
Hi everybody, I'm Carolyn Keenan and I'm the project manager for BC, and I work with Howard. I'll be talking to some of our entrepreneurs a little bit later.
Okay, brilliant, thanks so much. So we're starting this journey kind of right at the beginning with Monique and Davis, of where it all began and those type of aha moments of where and what got them started on the entrepreneurial journey. As well, just rolled into there is the Enterprise Scholarship. So Monique, if I jump to you first, is where did this passion start from, potentially, of becoming an entrepreneur? When did those kind of start tingling in the brain and think about of this journey?
Actually, I think it started when I was in primary school. So I'm originally from Jamaica, and we have primary school and secondary school, right? So when I was in primary school, I used to make some beads, and then I used to sell them to my classmates because I found that a lot of persons, they really liked these little beads that I made, some little bracelets and necklaces and that kind of thing. And from there, it kind of sparked my interest to say, maybe I should start a business. So it really started when I was probably about 6 or 7 in primary school.
6 or 7, so really started young. I'm sure the parents, I'm not sure if they loved you for giving a little ideas for presents and Christmas, or potentially going, oh great, extra pocket money's needed for these bracelets. So that's one of that. What about yourself, though? Is when did you start to find it, or where did you start to get those ideas and tingling for yourself? Was it 6 or 7, or even earlier?
No, mine was much later, and so mine happened while in my second year during my undergraduate degree. So up until that point, I never really decided what I wanted to do with my life. I was just going through the paces, studying accounting at undergraduate level back here in Nigeria, and so it all happened a particular day. A friend of mine said, there's a DVD he wanted me to watch. And he knows that I'm going to like it. I was wondering what's this about, and then he gave me the DVD, and it turns out to be season 1, episode 1 of The Apprentice, Donald Trump's The Apprentice. And from that first episode, I thought to myself, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to create jobs for people. I want to build businesses. And from that moment onwards, I kept studying about entrepreneurship. This was back in 2010. I kept studying entrepreneurship, finished university in 2012, until I started my first business in 2014.
Oh, brilliant. So really, really kind of different. And I'm glad that's what you took from The Apprentice, not potentially some other traits of Donald Trump. So that's always a positive. And I'm glad we managed to stay on that and actually create jobs. So 2 really interesting points there of where you've gone, and jumping back to that idea there. So that was a bit later, and then pulling through when you were studying. How did that feel? What kind of did you think, aha, I need to do this, I need to find this out first? What was your first point of call, really? So David.
Okay, so the first thing for me was, at that point when I figured out what I wanted to do, all I was just doing was studying. So I was reading a lot of Richard Branson books and all the books I could find, right, on entrepreneurship. Then at the point when I was going to start my business, the very first business I started was a school trip type business, because at the point, the only thing that worked for me was the fact that, I was learning through informal education. So I figured, we could create some form of school trips and then embed with a lot of informal education into that, and sell that as a service. That was my first business, and it failed woefully. I tried for 10 good months. I did not make $1 in sale, no sales whatsoever. I kept trying, and then that failed. But then I'd studied accounting in school, right? And so when that failed, there was a particular day I got stuck. I remember vividly. It was the 31st of October 2014. I got stuck in traffic with my mentor, and we got talking, and she was asking me about myself and stuff, and she helped me see that I could combine my passion for entrepreneurship with my skill as an accountant to provide accounting services to small businesses. Because at the time, small businesses in Nigeria, there was no consulting firm that provides services to them. A lot of them could not hire in-house accountants because they did not have the funds to do so. And they could not as well engage the KPMGs of this world, again, for cost reasons. So there was a gap right there in the market, and it was a mentor that helped me see that. So right from that day, I started working. I did a bit of research. I got a co-founder, and then in January 2015, we started the consulting company called Enterprise Hill, which was my first successful company, and is still running till today.
Brilliant. That's really interesting to see that kind of identifying the problem. I love how excited you are about talking about failing. You're like, I failed, nothing, and going from there, and kind of what you managed to gain from that. So Monique, very different. We had a bit of an explosion of a learning there. What about you? So planning and plotting that journey from 6 or 7, where was the next few steps for you? Because I'm doubting you were running to pick up Richard Branson book, because that age I've picked some of them up, and they're big old books. So what were you thinking of and going with there then?
Yeah, so my journey is a little bit similar to Davis. So when I was actually in university, that is when I sorted myself and I decided on my business venture. So I was in my undergraduate studies and there was an entrepreneurship competition. And I am a very creative person, so I like to dabble in different things. And I started baking cakes because I just love to eat. And then after I started baking cakes, I started to sell them to my classmates and schoolmates and that kind of thing. So when the entrepreneurship competition came up, I'm like, okay, yep, I'm going to enter this with my cakes. And then I decided that I wanted to do something different, so differentiate my cakes from the rest of the market. And I decided that I wanted to make some very small squares. And that is how I came up with my business name, Petite Squares. But then I dropped out of the competition because I just was not sold. I still thought that something was missing. And I was a peer advisor at the time, and we were invited to this meeting. Two lovely, lovely women. They came to the meeting and then they introduced me to my bread and butter, matcha. So when they introduced me to matcha, I was like, what in the world is this green powder? And then I tasted it and I didn't really like it. It was so horrible. But then yes. And I found out that it was from Japan. And I always had like this bias to Japan. I just love Japan. I love the culture. I love Japanese things. And then I said, if it's from Japan, there must be something good about it. So then I decided to do some more research. And I found out that matcha could help you to focus. It could help you to just relax and just provide like this stress-free Zen kind of feeling. And then I decided to ship it in. And it really helps me through university to study because I was doing actuarial science at the time. And then I said, this helped me. So maybe this is the missing piece to my puzzle. And then I transformed my idea from just petite squares, little desserts, into a matcha-based company. And that is what I am doing up to this day. So I specialize in the distribution of matcha.
Fantastic. Once again, I'm loving how different these are and those kind of explosions, and that's really bold to drop out of a competition to then potentially see the success. So how did that feel of going, you know what, I'm going to drop here and then kind of seek out other opportunities? What was that like?
Actually, it was a little bit devastating because I felt so disappointed in myself. And the thing is, for me, I have to believe 100% in my idea before I feel confident enough to present it in front of someone. And I just did not think it was good enough because I felt that if I can't sell it to myself, then there's no way I'm going to convince someone else. So I just made a decision at that time to say that, you know what, let me just take a step back, just go back to the drawing board, see where or how else I can be different from everyone else. And thankfully I did that because I don't think I would have found matcha unless, if I hadn't taken that decision. So I'm very happy at the end of the day, but at first it was a little bit demotivating, to be honest.
Right, okay, interesting. Seeing where we're going then. So both of you kind of sought out those different experiences through schools, identifying, you saying about failure. So then let's talk about when you decided to get involved a bit more and seek out the enterprise scholarship. And how was that? I know as winner runner up, Davis, how did you find it? Where's that drive come from? The grinning is, yeah, go from that. But how did you find it? Have you always sought out those extra opportunities, or how does it come about for yourself?
Okay, so just before I answer that question, just to make you happy, Howard, I'm going to tell you some other bit of my story that contrasts again with Monique's story. So Monique had to drop out of a competition. Remember I told you that my entrepreneurial drive was inspired by The Apprentice? In 2015, there was a Nigerian version of The Apprentice. I got into that competition and I won it. And I won that competition. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So that's one thing. Another thing is this: Monique was, very focused on perfection, just as she wanted to get it right before she could present it. I just wanted to get started. So at the point when I was going to start the business doing the accounting and taxes for small businesses, all I had was a BSc degree. I'd never worked anywhere. Till this day, I've only ever worked in my businesses. I'd never worked anywhere, no accounting experience, nothing of that nature, not even an internship. But I just figured, I know this thing. small businesses need it. And then I just started going to networking events, telling people, oh, I run a company, we could do your accounting for you. Started getting clients, and we stumbled through the process. We made a lot of mistakes along the way. What we could have learned in 6 months, sometimes it took us 3 years to learn. But again, very, very interesting entrepreneurial journey. Back to your question, how did I find the Enterprise Scholarship? The Enterprise Scholarship for me happened. I like to say it was a divine orchestration. So I had applied to the Shivni Scholarship to fund my master's program, and that didn't work out. I wasn't selected. But in the process of applying for Shivni, I'd done my research. I'd seen Aston University. I'd done my research. I'd chosen my course. I knew that Aston was the perfect program for me, the perfect university for me. And then when I didn't get Shivni, I told myself, oh man, I'm not going to go because I don't have the money. But then I was subscribed to the newsletters. And this is what I'm going to tell everyone that is watching this. Every opportunity you get, please ensure that you're subscribed to the emails, newsletters, and then one of the emails came in one of those days and talked about Aston Enterprise Scholarship. And then I thought to myself, oh, think about it. If the Shivni Scholarship didn't work out, Aston probably has other scholarships. And then I went on the website, hunted for all the other scholarships. I saw quite a number of them. I applied for quite a number of them, and also the Enterprise Scholarship. And at the end of the day, I think I got about 4 different scholarships. I got to the final of the Enterprise Scholarship, but only, you can only get one, just not to be greedy. But again, that's how all that came about.
Oh no, great. So it's kind of going and finding those different experiences and getting on those opportunities. It's fascinating to hear that you apprentice, you jumped on there. Congratulations. And then going and building from more. And then Monique, what about yourself? How did you come about with the Enterprise Scholarship, and how did you find the journey and the experience with it?
So for the Enterprise Scholarship, it's more like the scholarship found me. So when I was back in Jamaica, so I started my business in Jamaica, and then I was working part-time. Well, my business was part-time and I was working full-time. So I was working full-time as a business analyst for an insurance company. And then I decided that I wanted to take a leap of faith for my business, because one thing that always happened was when my customers came to me, they always asked a question, how was Japan? So then, because I could not answer that question because I've never been to Japan, I decided that I am convinced that this business is going to work. I am very passionate about it. I love matcha. So I am going to resign from my job and I'm going to move to Japan. And I resigned from my job and I moved to Japan, and I was intending to stay in Japan for at least 2 years to do some product research, product development, meet my suppliers and build relationships and that kind of thing. And then after just about 2 months in Japan, one of my best friends, he is the Jamaican Rhodes Scholar. He is someone that always looks for scholarships and schools and that kind of thing. He happened across a scholarship and then he sent it to me and said, Mo, you need to apply for this. And I'm like, what in the world? I literally just came to Japan. But then when I read the scholarship, and then when I read about Aston University and I saw the MBA program, I was like, okay, you're going to pack your bags and you're moving to Europe, and you're not going to stop until you get that scholarship. And then I purposed in my mind that there is absolutely no way that I am not going to get this scholarship. So I worked and worked and worked, and then sent in my application to Aston, successful. And then I just followed the whole journey of the scholarship, and then I turned out to be successful in acquiring that scholarship.
Oh, brilliant. So once again, such different and contrasting ways that you've come about and to join the program. So how are you finding the enterprise and the entrepreneurship resources and skills at Aston? How are you finding it? Are they adding to your skill set, or what is your highlight at the moment you're finding? Monique, we'll jump straight back to you. There was a lot of nodding there, so we'll jump straight back to you.
Yes. So first of all, I must say that I think this is probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made to just, come to Aston. Aston University, hands down, is amazing. The resources, the lectures, the help, just the information, the access, everything has been phenomenal thus far. So let me just preface it by saying that. So I am on the MBA program. So even outside of the scholarship, I'm on the MBA program. And then the lectures that we have so much information that we're getting, real world information that helps you to build on the knowledge that you already have, and helps you to understand how the world of business works. And then on top of that, you have access to mentors. And I've been so I have a mentor that they have paired me with that is absolutely fantastic. He's also an entrepreneur, and he has been just, having a lot of conversations with me regarding just building businesses and his experience and just advice that he can give to me. And then on top of that, you have the Apollo program. So with the Apollo program, there is a wealth of information, and I've had so many conversations with you, Howard, and it has opened my mind so much to just give me a lot of clarity in where I want my business to go, the different things that I have to think about, some things that I've never even thought about before. And I must say, this journey has been absolutely fantastic, but it's also given me a lot of introspection and a lot of reflective things that I have to, just ponder on and think about in order to start my business. So I'm excited to see where this journey takes me.
Perfect. Well, thank you. And I'm glad you're enjoying it so much. Just before we pass over, we know where we're going next. But just also, everyone that's listening, please feel free to ask your questions. We're going to get around to them, be it about the programs or you want to ask our two entrepreneurs here today. So now passing over, how are you finding it? How's Aston going for you, Davis? And yeah.
Absolutely incredibly amazing. Those are the words I could use. First of all, just like Monique said, the Apollo program has been great. The faculty, right, don't just come and speak a lot of English, right? The lessons are always contextualized, right? So it's contextualized to business, to entrepreneurship, to different areas of life and work life. So that has really been amazing. Then one thing I could tell everyone watching is that Aston, you would always be spoiled for choice. Always you will be spoiled for choice. There's always quite a number of things that you could do. You'll always have an array of opportunities that you can leverage to further develop yourself. My favorite illustration is Aston is a gym, right? There are lots of equipment. You can do whatever it is that you want. But one thing is for sure, if you engage with the process, you definitely will get a lot of development. There's the UBC program that I'm a part of. It's a simulation where you're simulating managing a global, organization. That is really, really interesting. I love the fact that, we also get to meet with local employers, and small businesses particularly. So take for instance, last week we had a business week, and there were quite a number of meetings with local businesses, small businesses that we get to interact with. One of the things I'm also eagerly looking forward to is the Aston Business Clinic, which is where you get to bring a lot of your experiences to bear, to help small businesses within the community. And also, lastly, I'm going to touch on the fact that the community, the business community in Birmingham, is very much involved with Aston, and Aston is very much involved with the business community in Birmingham. I've met, people that run businesses. I've met leaders of incubator programs in BC, in the Birmingham enterprise community. I've had conversations with people at the chambers of commerce. It's such a great ecosystem to be in, and the experience has been amazing.
I think perhaps we've lost Howard momentarily, so perhaps if I just pick up a couple of questions until he gets back. So maybe now would be the time to perhaps go into a little bit more detail about this year. So it's obviously in today's session we're launching the Enterprise Scholarship for this year. So I think, Monique, you've got some information to share with us about how it's all going to work this year. Is that right?
Oh, yes, I do. So for the enterprise scholarship this year, first of all, you have to apply for a master's program. So you must apply for a master's program. It is a full tuition scholarship. So you have to first get into Aston, and it is afforded to UK students, EU, and international applicants. So anyone that falls within those categories, you can apply for the enterprise scholarship. In order to apply, you need to go to the Aston website. So you need to go to the webpage, and then you're going to upload your information. One thing that is asked of you is to do a 3-minute video. So this is just an introductory video talking about yourself and your business, and basically why your business is going to be successful in Birmingham. So this is the first thing that you really need to present in order to differentiate yourself from everyone else so that you can move forward on the program. And this video is just a 3-minute video. And the deadline is on the 28th of February 2021. So that is just a rundown of the Aston Enterprise Scholarship. So good luck to all the applicants or potential applicants.
And if I may just jump in very quickly on that, I'm just going to encourage everyone that's going to apply for the enterprise scholarship, start getting comfortable with video if you're not comfortable with video, because you're going to have to do quite a number of video pitches. So get your pitch right, get your video right. Remember, Aston is one of the leading universities in the world. Aston's business program is one of the best that you can find around. So understand the fact that these are very competitive spaces, especially with the enterprise scholarship. So you're going to get, entrepreneurs from all across the world participating in the scholarship. So you want to put your best foot forward. So get your pitching game going and get your video game going.
That's really good, Davis. Maybe you could just tell us what, in your view, and obviously it's proven because you were the runner-up in the competition this year. What constitutes a good pitch? What are sort of the essentials that you should have in your pitch?
So when it comes to your pitch, I think one of the things that is most important is that you have an understanding of your product, have a very good understanding of the market that you're serving and the value that you're providing. So don't just have a product or a service for the sake of having it. Understand the value that it brings to potential customers. And also one of the things that I think that everyone should also pay attention to is you must be able to contextualize your business to the Birmingham environment. So even if you've been doing your business somewhere else, maybe in your home country, do some research about Birmingham and see how your business will work and benefit the city of Birmingham. That is very, very important in your pitch. So understand your product, understand your market, understand the value you provide, understand Birmingham. It also pays to know your numbers. That is always a good thing.
Definitely. That's what they always fall down on in Dragon's Den, isn't it? They always get drilled on the numbers. Monique, I saw you nodding there. Maybe do you have anything else to add to Davis's advice there?
Yeah, I think Davis pretty much summed it up, because those are some of the key factors when you're going to be doing your pitch. And just most importantly, you have to understand the problem that you're solving and what exactly your solution is and why we should even care about your solution. So once you understand your problem, you understand the solution, and also who you're targeting. So you need to understand your target market. So once you have all of those things, you should have a nice fulsome pitch, and it should be very succinct to the point so you don't lose the audience when you're delivering.
Great, thank you. Just before we kind of round up the part where we're talking to you guys, and I'm going to just tell you a little bit about Be Seen. Obviously, you're focusing on your studies at the moment, but then, as you've mentioned, doing various extracurricular activities like the Aston Business Clinic and Apollo. What are your plans after that? So as part of the scholarship, you have the opportunity to come on to Be Seen, don't you? Is that something that you both plan to take up? Davis, maybe you first.
Absolutely. So definitely, just like you said, a lot of focus right now is on the academics and a few of the extracurricular activities, but at the same time there's also background work going in terms of the research for establishing the business and things of that nature after the program. So definitely I am very much looking forward to being a part of BSIN, leveraging the resources that that ecosystem provides to, you know, fine tune my business and also get to build the business and launch the business here in Birmingham after my program. I'm eagerly looking forward to that.
Brilliant, as are we. And finally over to you, Monique, same question.
Yes, and I'm pretty much doing the same as Davis. So right now I'm focused on, of course, getting through my MBA and making the most of the Apollo program and all of the other facilities available to me at Aston. But I am really looking forward to BSIN. And that is one of the things that once you are successful with the scholarship, you get a place on the BSIN program. So that is something that I'm super excited about. I cannot contain my excitement. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you both. Thanks, Howard, as well. Obviously, you're back in the room now after a temporary absence. So I'll just tell you a very briefly about BSIN, and then we are going to have a chat with a couple of our startup founders, business leaders who both came on BSIN a few years ago, and that's Adi Kass and Yanting Zhu. So well, I think Yanting, if you can share your video with us. So I'll give you a little bit of background about BSIN. So it's an award-winning student and graduate startup program. It started back in 2012. And we're funded by the EU, and it's all about encouraging and supporting students and graduates to start their own business in the city of Birmingham. We provide a variety of different support. So it kicks off with a 5-day intensive startup bootcamp, which we have kind of specialist practitioner trainers who run that for us. And then once those 5 days are finished, the founders have access to our incubation space, which actually I'm sitting in here today. So we've got a really nice incubation space in a kind of tech centre, which is just on the edge of Aston's campus. So it's in an ideal situation. We also provide a small amount of funding for kind of immediate startup costs. It's in the region of about £500. So typically people might use it for some marketing materials or business insurance, you know, whole range of maybe some equipment that's required to get the business off the ground. So it just gives you a little bit of a stepping stone when you're first starting out. We also match you with a mentor. Obviously, Monique spoke about her mentor and how good he is on the MBA program. So we have a number of mentors that are linked to the BSIN program. So we will try and match you up with a suitable mentor. And probably most importantly at all, you'll have the sort of whole support of the BSIN team, but also your peers who go through the boot camps with you. You know, it really is a very supportive community that you'll be joining. So that's just a little bit of a background to BSIN. But now I'll start having a chat with Adi and Yanting. So because obviously they can tell you about some of their early experiences with BSIN while they were starting out. The other thing probably good to mention is that both Adi and Yanting were sponsored for 2 years by Aston University for, it was called the Tier 1 Graduate Entrepreneurship Visa back then, but it's now the Startup Visa. So it's essentially the same visa, which gives you 2 years to run your business in the UK. So hi Adi, welcome to this session. Are you on mute?
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Perfect. I've been good, Carly. It's been quite a while. I haven't seen you for, you know, it's been, I think the last time I met you, that was in 2019 before the lockdown at some point.
I think so, yeah. I think we normally bump into each other in networking events and things, but obviously we haven't been able to have those for a little while. So it's a great opportunity to catch up with you.
Yeah.
And hi, Yanting. Lovely to see you too. So,
Hear me?
Yeah,
yes, I can hear you now. Perfect. So maybe I could just start by asking you, maybe starting with you, Addy, and then on to Yanting, just to perhaps give us a little bit of background about yourself, what you studied at Aston, and then leading on to the business that you've been running for the last few years, kind of what motivated you to start that business up?
Great. So I grew up in India, and I came to Aston University in 2010 to study logistics, and I studied for 4 years and I graduated in 2014. So while I was at Aston, I really wanted to start my business, but I think you guys would know that you can't start a business if you're an international student. So I was a bit disappointed until luckily I found BC, and then I realized that there's an opportunity to actually come up with a decent idea, apply for BC, and it will start your own business. So I did a lot of my own market research. It wasn't some sort of like an accidental idea I came up with. So I did research, and I decided to get into eyewear business. And the reason for that was I just found eyewear industry quite boring and backwards, and there was a need for something fresh and innovative. So I came up with an idea to start a design-focused eyewear company that I launched in 2016. It's called Josh Fanner. And since then, it's been a hell of a ride. Like, I have learned quite a bit. So I think I'm going to be sharing that with you as Karen will ask me more questions going forward.
Great, thanks, Addy. That's a nice introduction. And so over to you, Yanting, the same, if you can give us about how you started out.
Yes. So I joined Aston Business School, I think in 2014, and then I started with my degree, like back then was like investment analysis in masters, and actually I didn't realize until like my degree was about to finish, I was about to submit my final dissertation in, and I joined this like recruitment fair and in London, and I realized I was quite lost at that time. I didn't know what exactly I wanted, and I didn't ask myself the question back then when I was a student. When I was a student, my job was just to be a good student, to ace all my like examinations and just and essays, and I didn't ask like what is that like the thing I want to pursue in life, and why I want to do finance, why I want to do investment banking. And I just realized, well, I'm not that interested anymore. And I was like, and I feel like quite lost, and I'm like a bit scared, because it's like I'm about to graduate and join the job market finally, but I think this is not exactly what I want, and then I think it's like I realized like there's a lot of people around me, like a lot of peers, they are looking for jobs as well back then. And when I asked them like why they apply for like investment banking, how they answer those questions, the employers, I feel like they're quite lost as well. They just want a job. And so I basically realized there's a problem. So I started like talent trending, which is like an idea, like a solution for like people to try out different jobs with like real life experience projects with different small businesses, and so they can try things out like as soon on the go, like wherever, whenever they want, and then they will understand what really fits them, what really makes them happy in life, what they want to pursue in their career, and have a better understanding, and also while like developing skills. So that's how I started. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you both. So we've got two very, very different businesses, which is really good. So turning back to you, Addy, you mentioned, I think, that you so obviously you always perhaps identified as an entrepreneur. You always had a plan to start your own business, and then you did your research to come up with the sort of area that you were going to specialize in, the eyewear. So how did you sort of really find out that you had a concept that was worth pursuing? And also what was it in that sort of set you apart from your competition?
Okay, so when I did my research, I realized that glasses were really expensive and designs were like not that exciting. This was, I'm talking in 2014. Now this market is very saturated, so a lot has changed. But back then in 2014, I think at that point there was a trend of direct to consumer business model going on. So it started in 2010 by an American company and it came to Europe. And I realized like in 2014 that the only competitors out there were Specsavers, Boots, Vision Express, and all of them were like very old fashioned the way they ran the business. So yeah, so that was the initial idea. Then I decided to came up with a good brand name, the brand that actually sounds cool and fashionable, and then decided to design a few glasses and got them made in Italy. So it does sound like quite simple when I like say it in this way, but there were so many challenges in between. I think you've seen me in BC like stressing out, going to BC every week, stressing and coming with some or the other problems. One of the issues I had at the beginning was to come up with a good name and get a trademark. So I had two different names before I came up with Josh Fano, and those two got rejected. They got rejected due to some or the other reason. But then I managed to get Josh Fano trademarked, but that was only like half, not even half of the battle. That was just like, you know, the beginning of the challenges that was going to come in the future. And after like finalizing my trademark, my brand name, I had to find manufacturers. I went to Italy, I went to Paris to look to meet manufacturers coming from all across the world to an optical fair. That was another issue. Then you have to like negotiate with them. You have to come up with the right price point, at what price point you'd be buying glasses. And once that bit was sorted, like the manufacturing, the brand, now the challenge was I've got this very pretty looking brand with nice glasses, but then the challenge was to actually market it. So I didn't actually knew at that point. I was quite young. I think I was 21 when I started it, but I was actually building a brand. And I was kind of like getting inspired by other businesses in my area, in other industries, and people who were creating a brand without actually knowing like what are the challenges you have to face when you create a brand. So yeah, since then I struggled to market my brand quite a bit from the day of launch, but I did manage to learn here and there, and I managed to like, you know, get it off the ground. I think now I'm at this stage, then I want to look back of 4 years of my entrepreneurial journey from the time I started my brand. I understood like the things which an entrepreneur should be doing when they start their business and what should they be definitely avoiding. And I can share that with you as you're going to ask me more questions. I can share that in tips.
That'd be really good, actually. We've got a couple of related questions actually from the audience in the Q&A. So I'll introduce those to you in a bit. Perfect. Thank you. I've got to say, Adi, is that this is one of your range? Is it that you're wearing?
Yeah. So this is the one I'm planning to launch on Kickstarter next year. So I think I've showed you my other Kickstarter campaign, which I did in 2018. That was very successful. I think that really did give me a boost, and so that's
the new range that you're
so this one's a new range. I can probably like show you quickly.
I like that.
So this is going to be launched next. I was supposed to launch it this year, but because of lockdown, I couldn't do it.
Okay, that's another question actually we'll come to in a minute. How COVID has affected you, so
oh god, okay, so
and also I'd like to ask you in a little bit as well about you can tell us a bit more about the Kickstarter campaign and that you've done and the one that you're planning.
Yeah, so with the Kickstarter which I did in 2018, that was something I really wanted to do to make sure that I have like a healthy cash flow, because I think the way we were growing was fine, but then I really wanted some sort of like a free traffic where you don't have to sit and burn money on Facebook advertising and other things. And also, I didn't want to take the risk of buying the stock again like I did before, where you put the money up front, then you put money in marketing, and then you try to sell it. So Kickstarter was something I want to do to avoid putting money up front to buy stock and then trying to sell it. And also with Kickstarter, you get like free traffic from their own website, so you don't have to, you know, do external marketing that much. So so when I launched the Kickstarter, I did like a proper like pre-campaign email I ran like an email marketing campaign to collect lots of emails of people who already buy on Kickstarter before launching my campaign. And when I launched it on the day one, it was quite dramatic, because I spent, I think it was about like $3,000 I invested just to collect emails, and everyone thought I was crazy. But then on the day of launch, I was obviously like keeping all the people who were collecting emails, trying to get them engaged that we're going to be launching on this date. And on the day of launch, I made my Kickstarter campaign live. And I just went out of the office to get a subway, because that was my like last straw. I've tried everything. And I went out to get a subway, and one of my colleague, the person who used to work with me, my employee, she messaged me that, oh, Addy, you've got like 800 pounds in like 5 minutes. And then by the time I was back, it was like at 4,000 pounds sales, like in, you know, 2-3 hours. So that was really exciting. And I quite liked the fact that, you know, with Kickstarter, you can actually get sales before investing money in stock. So yeah. It was brilliant. But my goal for next year is to do even a bigger Kickstarter campaign for this collection, because I've learned what I did wrong and what I could have done, you know, better. Yeah. So it's been exciting, but I hope like the next one's going to be even bigger.
Great, look forward to that. Thanks, Addy. We'll come back to you in a second. So, Yanting, then, turning to you. So, obviously, Addy's talked a little bit about the issues with finding suppliers and marketing. But for you, being a tech-based business, I imagine one of the challenges would be, you know, getting the support that you need to get the tech side of the business up and running.
Yes, definitely. So, I have a lots of stories about like a mistake I made like starting. I think because I came from first I came from a different country, so it was like brand new market. I had to build everything, network especially, and resources from scratch in the UK market, and also then I studied business. I have no tech background. So I basically need to find like way into the industry and get to know people and there and then. So I think BScene really helped a lot, because when I joined like BScene, like I got a mentor like from like a software development company, also as Sam, a previous BScene participant, and then I think I was quite engaged with a lot of like tech events like Tech Wednesday in the building, and then I get to know a lot of like developers and get to work with them, and even before then I was like in Aston there was a pipe club, Aston Pipe Club. So that was before BScene. I also joined a tech project. Then that was like my first attempt in the tech industry, and then over the years I just have been working with multiple development agencies, and I have joined like the technology summit, like Web Summit in Portugal, and like for like 2-3 years, and just to continuously learn, expand my network in the tech industry, and work with different people and make different attempts. So I think I have failed, but I also have succeeded. It's like they always come like together. I feel like, yeah. So it's like I think it's like well, as long as like as an entrepreneur, as a founder, we're sure like this is what we are willing to commit to, what we are willing to invest our time and effort in, and we would enjoy, and we can persist that effort like through all the challenges, like yeah.
And maybe you could tell us a little bit, Yanting, about the sort of traction that you've got. I know that you're working with a number of HEIs in the UK and maybe even wider than the UK as well?
Yeah, so I have been working with Aston, of course, and then Birmingham University, BCU, and we expanded after the COVID hit because there seems to be more demand in the market. So we expanded to Warwick, Liverpool, and Westminster University and LSE, and we got some Oxford University students talent pool as well. And we expanded our employer base to overseas in in Romania, in UAE, Dubai, in China. And so not only in the UK, because this make us realize the opportunity is everywhere and everyone's online now, and it actually gave us a lot of opportunities this year.
That's interesting. So for you, COVID has, I guess, like a lot of tech-based businesses, COVID has opened opportunities up to you.
Yeah.
But Adi, maybe not so. Or tell us actually about how COVID has affected Josh.
Right. Okay. I think COVID has certainly affected some parts of my business. So I think this year I was planning to sell a lot of my frames to opticians. So I think opticians were affected, and for that reason I was affected as well. But I think the main problem with me was I was not able to actually run my business due to the fact that I was stuck with my parents in India. So I was in India in March, and the borders got locked. We went into lockdown, so I couldn't travel back until August. So I did have a bit of guilt feeling that I missed out an opportunity to actually sell glasses online. So so COVID has affected, but it has also provided opportunity to sort of sell frames online and able to sell it to people who normally go and buy in a shop. So it's both, but what I've also realized after this is that to not rely on just one business. So if events like that happens, and if one thing goes bust, you got to have something else just to make sure, just to keep you going. So so with Joshua, I'm still seeing what happens next year and after Brexit and everything. So what I've done is I've made the whole company very lean. So I've moved out of my office space in custard factory. I've cut down on my employee count. And just trying to cut down all the costs and running it as a startup once again, like how I used to run, but with a bit more experience this time. So so that's what I'm doing with Josh Fano as of now, and I've got other plans as well. What I'll be doing outside of Josh Fano too.
Okay, maybe we can come to those in a bit. We have a question in the chat which relates actually to. I was going to ask you about marketing, but I'll start with you, Adi. So the question in the chat is, how did you conduct market research, and how big a role did it play in your success? So maybe you could think about that, and then also think about how it made you decide what kind of, and with your experience over time, what are the best marketing channels for Josh Fano?
Right. Okay. I think the best way to conduct a market research is to have an idea of where the demand is. So I think you have to start with the product itself. So outside of Iowa, let's just take an example of selling airplane models. So if you think there's a market for that, you have to first of all look into who are the suppliers out there, how much they're selling it for, and what's the competition like. If it's very saturated, it's probably best to avoid it. And also, when you do conduct your market research, and if you've found a product and found the industry, you have to also understand, can you actually execute that product? Do you have the financial power to actually do that? Because when you're starting a brand, or like a tech company like Yanting is doing, one of the issues a lot of entrepreneurs, I think they willingly try to avoid is the financial part of the business, and how much money it's going to take to actually execute it. Because when you're starting a brand, it's an expensive and long process. So if you don't have the funds, it's best to start with something that requires absolutely no funding or like very little funding and grow from there onwards, and then invest in whatever the brand idea you have. Okay, so with market research, I think it really varies like how you want to do it. So if you really, sometimes you don't even need to do market research. That if you can feel that that's a problem you're facing, let's say in like fitness clothing or something you think can be sold in the industry with a better design or with a better price point, then you just look into that industry and find what are the competitors and how you're going to make yourself like stand apart. That's a very basic way of doing it. And even after doing all the market research, there's a good chance you can find a lot of challenges and you might even fail, which is fine because at the end of the day, you'll still learn. And talking about like marketing channels, there's paid advertising, there's social media. These are the two big ones, and influencer marketing. I think we all know all these three. But then again, with these marketing channels, you need to understand like how much can you actually invest. Let's say with paid advertising, it's one of those that you really need to have certain funds set aside to be burnt and not expect anything before you get any results. With influencer marketing, I think for that you need to have stock to be able to send it out to influencers, and also you have to calculate the amount of how much it's going to cost you from shipping to sending out the product. What's the total cost? And either way, like with influencer or with paid advertising, you don't really see the results straight away. So I would be a bit wary of that if someone doesn't have like a big budget or even like a decent budget to begin with.
Yeah. So can you say what's been the best kind of marketing that you've done?
Okay, so for me, it's been normally like word of mouth. I've tried like Facebook ads. It worked, but also it takes quite a bit of time. But I think as of now, like I feel like Kickstarter was the most successful thing I did because it brought me a lot of customers at absolutely no cost, because Kickstarter is a very, very big crowdfunding platform and they drive about like 1 million people a month on their website. So you're getting absolutely like free traffic, coming to your platform. But to drive like 1 million people onto your own personal website, it's going to cost you a hell of money. Yeah. So I think that's something a lot of people forget about like brands, because they've got this idea which is similar to some other business which has been done somewhere else, but that business might be funded by VC with 10 million pounds, in the first round, 50 million. So we can't really compete with businesses with low funding. So I think that's a no-no. I think that's the lesson I learned. So I would suggest the best way to start a business would be through finding a winning product on Amazon or Etsy or eBay, because these websites drive like free traffic. And once you've made certain amount of revenue from Etsy or Amazon or eBay, you can then have your own website and then use that funds to drive traffic onto your own website or through SEO. I think that's the best way to do it. There's a lot of business ideas out there right now where you don't really need any sort of investment. And I think that's a smart way to start a business, because you're less likely to lose a lot of money.
Sure. Okay. And then Yanting, so obviously, again, a very different type of business. And I would imagine, Addy saying their referrals and word of mouth, I imagine that's played quite a large role in the growth of talent trending.
Yes, definitely. So I think like we did use agency before, and I used like probably like 3 marketing agencies, like on social media, on website design, on like user interface design, etc. Like I used different agencies when I first started, because like I think I didn't have much patience when I first started in the business. Like I just need to get it done. I don't mind how much I pay. It was like the mindset when I first started. I just need to get it out quick. And then so I hire a lot of agencies, and that was one of the mistakes that I made, because at the end, actually the best work, like the most efficient work that attracted our main clients are the word of mouth, like Adi said, and like through like workshops I do with universities, with companies, and through like, you know, referrals. So those are where like all my loyal customers came in, and all the other like marketing agencies, basically what they created was like the noise in the market for us. But like that's not much like lead generation with agencies. I think it's like, I think agency works better with already established brand. You know, so they're already run on like, but with like a new business, and if you're like innovative business, there's not much like you know, kind of like comparable products or companies out there, and you have to like find your own niche. You have to try out different things yourself. So I think the best way is to just get together with your clients, get together with the market, build a brand with the market, build the brand with the clients. That's how I think the best way, you know, to do marketing for like, especially for innovative startup like us. Yeah.
Yeah, because actually you like a lot of sort of platforms, you've got the two sides of the market that you've got to bring together, haven't you? So you have to market to the prospective students, and then you also have to market to the employers as well.
Yeah, but funnily enough, like the ones actually generated results are the marketing work I've done free. The ones I pay didn't. I was like, what?
Well, it's a lesson learned, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, we haven't got too much time left, so I think to finish off, it would be great to hear both of your kind of future plans. So Adi, you obviously mentioned about the forthcoming Kickstarter, so maybe tell us a little bit more about that.
So the upcoming Kickstarter I'm planning to launch next year now is to do with the same glasses, the ones I'm wearing, and this one more design, I've got it. These are architecturally inspired eyewear, so we've included subtle references of different iconic buildings into the frames. I think this one is inspired by this monument in Belize in Georgia. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see it over here like a little bit. But it's one of those little things. So this would be architecturally inspired eyewear campaign. But what we've done differently, what I'm planning to do differently this time is to reduce my manufacturing cost and reduce my overall price point. So it kind of opens up a bigger market for, you know, for more people to buy from. So that's one thing I should have done last time, but then again, it was more sort of like a premium collection, which I did. So with Josh Manor, I think the plan is to keep like few designs and focus on that, trying to make them more iconic, and try to sell those glasses, and also look into expanding into different categories outside of eyewear. So eyewear is good, but it's also very saturated, and there's a lot of competition right now. And what I think my personal suggestion would be for anyone out there would be to not get stuck with one idea forever their life. So they need to, if they think like it's not working, they spend like 2 or 3 years. It's even if it's working, but it's not generating the kind of revenue you want to generate, then you have to do something else as well. Unless you really want to be like a, you know, like a small business throughout your life, then that's different.
Yeah.
But if you really want to like expand and make a business really like a national business or international business, you have to think outside of, you know, your particular category. If it's not working, if it's working, then that's great. You kind of expand into that.
Yeah. So is it new things under the Josh Vano brand, or is it completely different business that you're going to?
So my plan is to do another Kickstarter and then start focusing on getting into like watches. It's again like a really big market, saturated, but I plan to design watches in a way that they look different and it fits with Josh Vano aesthetic and what we stand for. and that is like inspired by architecture. So if you can include like references of architecture in a watch, I think that would make it stand apart.
Yeah.
So it would be all good going that way, but I've also decided to start selling things on Amazon and eBay and Etsy, because I've realized with brands, it takes a lot of time and money, and I would really like advise people to not get into it if they really don't have an amazing marketing plan, or they have like, you know, financial budget to it, because they'll end up burning all their cash and they're probably going to end up making like not that much revenue, you know. So I think it looks good from outside, you know, just to start a brand, to start like an eyewear company or a fashion clothing brand or shoe brand or whatever it is. It's something people only realize once they're into it. So my plan is to just keep Josh on it going as it is, but also try to find like other winning products in other industries and get into that as well. So something which I'm planning to do now is to launch a print-on-demand clothing company. I think that's the easiest thing anyone can do it right now if they're listening to me. All they need to do is create designs on a t-shirt mock-up, make them like funny and unique, whatever it is, like it's to do with like Brexit or, you know, Tory party or whatever that's going to get people's attention. So, you know, you can create those kind of things and you can put on Etsy, and you'll be surprised like how much you can sell. So, you know, one of those like world's best dad, you probably think that's like in one ugly mug, but that mug can probably make you like £50,000 in a month, because everyone would buy it, like whoever wants to wish their dad like happy birthday or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good strategy, because in this, you're not really risking a lot of your funds, and probably you don't have funds. You know, a lot of young people don't have funds to invest in. So you have to be very clever of how you want to start. And try not to follow what other companies are doing. I think that's a trap. Try to follow like what other brands are doing, what other businesses are doing, because you don't know what skill sets they have and what experience and what what capital they've got to begin with.
Great. Well, wish you every success with that. We'll keep following you and see how you get on. Thank you, Adi. And just finally from you, Yanting, really just a little bit about the future plans for Talent Trending.
Yeah, I think something similar is happening with me. Like Adi said, like I think we both have like, we all have like an investor kind of like mindset, which is like build a portfolio of businesses that will kind of like generate financial values for us. And I think so Talent Trending has been so it's because it's targeted student graduate recruitment market, so it's normally a bit seasonal as well. And I think after the COVID, especially, it's just like a lot of like new ways, new technology emerged so quickly, and people find alternative ways to do things so quickly. So it's like, we have been very carefully to invest in the new technology. So, so basically, I think this year we're playing it safe. And I also started like side businesses, but so I'm also joining the e-commerce industry, doing my homewear, and also I have been working with companies in London that help them to expand to China, different places, and while I'm keeping Talent Trending as how it is, and just keep all the existing customer happy, and carefully take the next step forward, expand and invest further, because I think for especially for tech companies, it takes a longer time, but it take investment like capital, like it eats capital so quick, but it generates slower. So I feel like, yeah, so it's smart play to build a portfolio of businesses. If we just want to stay entrepreneur, yes, I think it's smart.
Well, it's interesting that you're both kind of going down similar type routes. So once again, thank you both so much for joining us today. It's been great for me to catch up with a pair of you, albeit virtually. Hopefully we'll be able to do it in the real world soon.
Yeah.
and I hope it's been interesting for our audience as well. I'm sure it has been. We're now going to talk a little bit about the startup visas. We've been joined by Laura Bryan, who is one of our international advisors from Aston University. Hi, Laura. Thanks.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. I know you've got some slides you're going to share with us. I just thought it would be useful just to do very quickly an overview from BC's point of view of what we're looking for when we evaluate a business plan for somebody who wants to apply for the startup visa. It's something that guidance that comes to us from the Home Office, and it's really it's three tenets that we're looking for. That the business needs to be viable. Obviously, you know, goes without saying that most new businesses that you're wanting to start up are viable, but also they need to be innovative and they need to be scalable. So anybody here who is considering applying for the enterprise scholarship with a view to be accepted onto BC and having the sponsorship of the startup visa really needs to bear that in mind to obviously have the maximum chance of success. So Laura, I'll hand over to you now, but obviously I'll be remaining on the call for any questions as well that might come up.
Yeah, thank you, Carolyn. So I don't know, can people see those slides now?
Not yet.
Okay, so so if I share my screen,
yeah,
that's the best way to do it, isn't it? Okay, so
yes, on this.
bear with me then. Okay, so hopefully, can you see that now?
You think it's coming up? Yes, it's coming up now. You just need to go onto slide view.
Okay. Where do I find that?
Slideshow on the top, just below the orange. Yeah, just below the orange, where it says Startup Visa Presentation, and the orange just below that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, good. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so I'm Laura Bryan. I'm one of the international student advisors at Aston University, and I tend to take responsibility for questions, queries, advice around work, work during studies, work after studies. So that would include the startup visa. So I've just prepared a little bit of information about the visa. I've also thought I would start with something quite important, which is what you can and can't do really on a Tier 4 or a student visa. Tier 4, so I think we've got at the moment, we'll probably have some current students who are on a Tier 4 on this session, but there may also be some applicants who are haven't got their visa yet, and they will actually be coming on a student visa because Tier 4 was replaced on the 5th of October by a new student visa, but the rules are the same. So basically, on a student or a Tier 4 student visa, you are not allowed to be self-employed or to engage in business activity. So what does the Home Office mean by that? There is a definition of working for a business. So engaging in business activity means working for a business in which you have a financial or other significant beneficial interest in a capacity other than as an employee. And they give some examples. So setting up a business as a sole trader or under a partnership arrangement, and that business is either trading or establishing a trading presence. Or, for example, if you were employed by a company in which you hold shares of more than 10%, or working for a company where you also hold a statutory role, such as if you were a director, for example. So those are some examples that they give of what you are not allowed to do. And that is from the student route, so the new student route, guidance for caseworkers making decisions on those applications. There's also a little bit more information within the guidance specifically for endorsing bodies, which I'll mention in a minute, for the startup visa. And it says students can do the following, as this is not considered to be engaging in business activity. So carrying out preliminary activities like writing a business plan or negotiating a contract, or incurring pre-trading costs with a view to deciding whether to start your business. So those things are allowed because they don't consider those to be engaging in business activity per se. Oh, hang on, I've lost my slides, sorry. But they also give a bit more information about what you cannot do. So, for example, registering with HM Revenue and Customs, HMRC, as self-employed. So you're not, these are things that they consider to be engaging in business activity that you're not allowed to do. Also, working for companies in which you're a controlling shareholder, or working for a company in a statutory role like a director. Actually trading or trying to establish a trading presence as well. So those are things that are not allowed on a student or a Tier 4 visa. So if you want to set up a business, then you would need a startup visa. If you are moving from student or Tier 4 visa and you want to set up a business in the UK, this is intended for early stage, high potential entrepreneurs who haven't previously set up a business in the UK, and you'd be given a 2-year visa, so 24 months, under this category. Now, the way in which you get this visa is you have to be endorsed by a startup endorsing body. And Aston University is a startup endorsing body. There are other universities as well, but Aston is one. And as Carolyn has said, we have to assess your business idea and confirm that it meets the requirements of the startup scheme in order to be able to endorse you. So we currently run the startup scheme at Aston through the BScene programme. So the BScene team would assess your business idea and against those 3 criteria, so innovative, viable and scalable. And if they feel that it's a strong business idea and it ticks those boxes, you would be accepted onto the BScene programme. And once you have been accepted, the university can then endorse you under the startup route. We usually don't endorse students until after you've completed your studies, and you don't need to show funds to invest in the business for the visa anyway. BScene may have different requirements there, but for the visa, you don't have to show that you've got funds to invest in the business, as opposed to other types of visa that there are out there. You must not previously have been granted 2 years leave in the startup or Tier 1 graduate entrepreneur categories. And the idea is that you have a startup visa for 2 years and you then switch into the innovator visa category at the end of the 2 years. If your business is going well, you know, it's successful, there are quite stringent criteria for innovator, but that's the idea, that you have startup and then you switch to innovator. So as I won't dwell on this too much, but Carolyn's already mentioned that the criteria you have to meet, the business has to be innovative. So it has to be a genuine original business plan that meets a new or existing market need and or creates a competitive advantage. So this is from guidance from the Home Office that this has come from. So the idea also has to be viable. So by which the Home Office means that you must have already or be actively developing the necessary skills, knowledge, experience and market awareness to successfully run your business. And then the last criteria is scalable, by which the Home Office means that there must be structured planning and potential for job creation and growth into national markets. So that's what we're looking for when we're assessing your idea. Now with this visa, the startup visa, you are allowed to work on more than one business, or more than one idea, and you can change your business after you've been granted the visa, but the new business must always still meet those three criteria. So you'd need to stay in touch with Be Seen, and it may be that we would have to reassess if your idea does start to change at a later point. You don't need to be the sole founder of the business. You can apply as a team. We have had applications from a partnership. So there were two that wanted to set up a business as partners, and they both got the visa. That is possible. You can apply inside the UK or outside the UK if that is easier for you. But you will need to show maintenance. So you need to show that you've had enough money to for living costs, basically, in the UK. So that amount is currently £945 for a 90-day period. So you have to have held at least that amount in your account for 90 days before applying for the visa. You are able to bring family members to the UK with you under this scheme as well, should you have them, so partners, children. And also with this visa, it's quite nice actually, you are permitted to work as paid work alongside setting up your business, and there is no limit on the number of hours that you can work if you need to support yourself. However, you must always make sure that you're still spending the majority of your time developing your business, because you will have a visa here to establish a business, so that is the majority of the time that you spend should go towards that. But if you need to, you can do part-time work to support yourself. So just a brief kind of bullet point plan of how to apply for the visa. So I guess first of all would be to make sure you've got the funds for that you need to show for your living costs. Get those into an account in your name. Make your application to Be Seen and hopefully get accepted. And once you've been accepted, then you'll be able to get the endorsement letter that you would need from myself or one of my colleagues at the university. We would then help you with the application. So we check your documents, we check the application form. You make the application for the startup visa only once you've held the money for the 90 days, because if you don't, you're likely to get refused. You be granted the startup visa, and then you'd be able to attend the Be Seen boot camp and start the Be Seen programme. Just a little note there, if your Tier 4 visa was granted on or after the 1st of October 2019, you are actually allowed to start working on your business before your startup visa is granted, as long as you've applied for it. Anyone that's the Tier 4 visa was granted before the 1st of October 2019, unfortunately you have to wait until you've actually been granted the startup visa before you can start work on the business, and that is to do with your visa conditions. So that's just a note there to be aware of. Now with the startup visa, we have to monitor you at the university. We have to monitor your engagement and your progress, and we do this through regular emails. So it's usually me. I send them every 4 months while you are on the startup visa, and also Be Seen through the support that they provide on the programme. They would be having regular catch-ups with you, or if you're using the office, they're going to be seeing you regularly to make sure that you are engaging with your business. You're spending time on trying to set it up. As I've said, you've got to be spending the majority of your time on your business and be able to demonstrate it. And we can actually withdraw endorsement if we felt that you weren't engaging sufficiently with your business or making satisfactory progress. I was going to go, I've got a couple of slides about the innovator visa, but I think I'll skip those because I'm over time a little bit and it's maybe not as relevant to today, but I can provide the slides if people want them to sort of read up on them. Just to mention as well, you may be aware that there is a graduate route visa that has been announced, which will be coming in the summer of 2021, we believe. So potentially this visa, if it does actually come in, you would also be able to apply for this visa after your studies. And this would allow self-employment as well as the startup route. So this may be a viable visa option for you if it is introduced. It comes with the caveat that until this is in the immigration rules, it's not actually, we can't 100% guarantee that this visa is going to be available, and that's not likely to be until April next year. But from what we've read, what the government has announced, it looks likely, and it would be for those with a current Tier 4 or student visa who've completed, sorry, actually we don't know if it's successfully completed yet, but who've completed their degree course in the summer of 2021 onwards. We don't yet have a more concrete date than that. You have to apply for this in the UK, and it would give you 2 years if you've done a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, or 3 years if you've done a PhD, and it will allow pretty much any kind of employment. There's a couple of exceptions, but you can be full-time employed, part-time employed, self-employed. So you could use this visa to set up a business, to be a consultant, for example, or a freelancer. So this is, hopefully, if it does definitely come in, this is quite a nice visa for that, for self-employment. Essentially with this visa, you could work on a business but without having sponsorship and without being monitored. So the university would not be sponsoring you. There would be no requirement for us to monitor you. However, obviously, if you join the BSEEN programme, there are BSEEN requirements there, and they would want to monitor your progress. But in terms of the visa, you're not being sponsored. We wouldn't need to monitor you from that point of view. And then I just got a quick slide. I don't know whether we have any EU students who are listening at the moment, but just very, very briefly, if you are an EU national and you're in the UK, you arrive to the UK by 11 p.m. on the 31st of December this year, you're eligible to apply for the EU settlement scheme, which would give you either pre-settled or settled status in the UK. That then allows you to live, to study, to work in the UK beyond the 31st of December this year. And you could set up a business on with that status. Oh, sorry. If you arrive after 11 p.m. on the 31st of December, then you will need immigration permission that allows you to set up a business if you are intending to set up a business in the UK. So that would be the startup or potentially the innovator visa, for example. If you arrive in the UK after the 31st of December as a student, so you come here, you do your course, and then you want to set up a business after your studies, then you'd be looking at the startup or potentially innovator visa, or the graduate route visa if that does come in next year. because that would allow self-employment as well. So that's just a very whistle-stop tour of immigration for EU students, in case there happen to be any listening. If you've got any questions about anything I've just said, I know I've rattled through it rather quickly, then we've got 4 international student advisors, myself and my colleagues. We're usually situated in the hub on the ground floor of the main building, but we're all currently working remotely at the moment. But we can do appointments via Microsoft Teams or via the phone. Those are our phone numbers there, and that's our email, which is monitored daily. So plenty of ways to get in touch with us if you've got any questions that we don't have time for today, or you think of something later, or yeah, you want clarification, because yeah, I did go through it quite quickly. So yeah, I hope that's okay. So if I stop, shall I leave? Maybe if I leave that up for a minute in case people want to note the details.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether we've got that last slide, but what we can do is, I know that Alice is going to be emailing everybody who's attended the event or signed up for the event, so we can put some details in that email. So in that email there'll be details about the Enterprise Scholarship Scheme and how to apply for that and more information, and then there'll also be, we can put some information from Laura's slides as well. So thanks very much for that, Laura. And I think that's pretty much us on time now. So unless anybody has any other questions that they'd like to put in the chat to us, we'll call this event to a close. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've got a lot of useful information, and we really look forward to seeing some of your business ideas coming forward for the scholarship next year. Thank you very much, everybody.